This machine was designed to be as hands-off as possible. The desktop computer that runs the machine itself can be remoted into and run remotely to restart or adjust it, address issues. The motion control software used on this machine is highly customizable. And so it's really easy to make custom macros and code custom movements and also adjust this to your specific needs. All auxiliary systems like tool changing, dust collection, air compression, and spindle cooling are all done automatically, so that's completely hands-off. Basically, if you're able to just zero out your project, get your origin right, you can press play and pretty much leave it alone for as long as you need to. There's a webcam that's mounted here that watches the spindle in case you want to pop in on your job from anywhere in the world. And so everything that can be automated is automated. There is a temperature probe installed on the spindle that keeps an eye on the overall temperature of the spindle, which displays here. There's also a programmed warm-up routine, which basically takes this temperature and then fires up the spindle and warms it up until it reaches operating temperature and then shuts off. That way it doesn't warm up for any longer than it needs to and warms up as fast as possible. Obviously, all tool changes are automatic. Because there's a temperature probe, the software knows to turn on or off the coolant at any given time. This is the coolant reservoir here. These are the heat exchanger fans here. All of that is run by the software and 24-volt logic in the cabinet. Additionally, the dust collector turns on and off automatically. This dust boot moves up or down depending on what tool you have in. That corresponds to this tool table here, where you define whether you want the boot down or the dust collector on all the time, or you want the dust collector on intermittently for any given tool, which is nice for tools like this 1/8 diameter ball nose, which doesn't need the dust collector on all the time, but I let it turn on every 15 minutes or so to just clean up. All tool change operations are done in the software. So here you can tell the machine to just drop the tool. Here's a manual tool change, which is done by hand if you want to do that. This is a button that runs a macro that cycles all the tools just so you can make sure that zeros look good, and it's more of a troubleshooting button. This button here probes all tools, and this button here probes the tool that you have in the chuck. Tool touch off happens right here on this pad. As far as starting a program goes, it's as easy as clicking load file, selecting your program, hitting open, and you're ready to go. This is a quick walk through the pendant. You have X, Y, and Z axes for jogging. This button takes you up to safe Z. On off for spindle here. This switch between continuous and step MPG modes. This adjusts your MPG sensitivity. This will home all axes This will zero axes, which is useful for zeroing Z. This is a button that will run the probing macro and use the touch off pad for probing, and obviously go to 0. And that's just a super quick run through of this highly upgraded Multicam MG103.